evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an extreme pleasure to have all these panelists on the stage to have a very interesting discussion today on the trending investments in global trends in investment abroad. Do you know that 3,500 Indians are planning to migrate in the year 2025? And this is lower than last year, which is about 5,100 and 4,300 before that. And whilst it's lesser this year, it's still the highest in the entire world. And if you look at the global trends of mobility, more and more Indians are looking at investing abroad for various reasons, be it for capital appreciation, tax benefits, business opportunities, education, rental appreciation, and so many other reasons. Today we have people on our panel who will be here to discuss the various benefits of investing through various residence and citizen programs in their respective countries. We start with Girish, Mohile, and Girish, tell us about the CMB Regional Center and what are the services that they provide to our viewers here, and what is the entire process of EB5 that they need to keep in mind if they want to invest and migrate to the US.
Thank you, Reshmi. So CMB Regional Center specializes in EB5 visa. It's a specific visa category to receive a permanent residency in the US via investment. So although it's an investment-based visa, the main goal is to receive permanent residency for the main applicant, spouse, and unmarried children below 21 years. So you have to invest 800,000, a minimum of 800,000 US dollars worth of investment into a qualifying business. That is where CMB comes into picture. We are designated as a regional center, which allows us to source qualifying projects wherein the investors can invest their money and receive the green card. However, from a perspective of the investor, the qualification of that green card is not just via you purchasing a property or you owning a property. The qualification is based on job creation. So from a US standpoint, EB5 visa is a job creation program. So each investor investing 800,000 US dollars needs to invest in that qualifying business, which will create 10 new American jobs. So that is one of the important criteria. So you're not going to own any asset as such. However, you are going to be part of a business which will generate employment, which will generate economic development in that specific area. And that is how the basic qualification of EB5 works.
Thanks, Girish. We now come to Shivam, Narula. What makes Dubai a top choice for global real estate investments? And how does SOBHA Realty leverage this to attract international buyers?
Thank you, Reshmi. Well, I'm sure everyone is aware about Dubai. Why Dubai? We all know we save a lot of tax. At the same time, it is the safest city in the world right now. 38% of Indians have, the population of Dubai is by Indians with multiple population of other countries. Again, as we see with SOBHA Realty, which I'm representing, the second top nationality is Turkish. Then we have Chinese, we have Russians. So this way, not just Indians. In India, of course, we have so many states who's investing in Dubai. Coming to other countries, they all are being attracted to Dubai because all the millionaires, all the investors, consultants, they know Dubai is the right time. Again, if you ask me, 2026 to 2027 will be a time where investing will become somewhere stagnant. But right now is a perfect time to invest in Dubai, especially in a developer which is SOBHA Realty.
Thank you. My next question is to Aman. What are the key immigration pathways for Indian professionals and investors seeking to work or establish a business in New Zealand? And how can 1881 Global Mobility, whom you represent, assist in the same?
Yes, thank you, Reshmi. Hello. I want to just give you a little background since New Zealand is a new entrant to IREX and it's something new for a lot of you. New Zealand has always had a citizenship by investment program. It has been lying dormant for a long time, specifically because of the policies of the Labour government. The current national government, under the leadership of Christopher Luxon, their election campaign was around bringing and reviving this specific visa category, and they've done exactly that. So to give you a little perspective, in the last 5 years, New Zealand government raised only $160 million through the Citizenship by Investment program, which was a visa category for a very long time. However, in the last 3 months, so the new visa, when the national government came into power, they revamped the visa category and called it the Active Investor Plus visa. Now, this visa was started getting operational from the 1st of April this year. And in 3 months, it has raised $1 billion US, and it is on par to get to $3 billion US by Christmas. So that's the target of the government. So that gives you a little idea on where New Zealand is pitching itself. We are now at the global stage. New Zealand government has announced it that we are one of the players who will be vying for investors from globally around the world. Now, in this visa category, you have 2 options. One is the growth category, where the minimum investment is for 5 million New Zealand dollars. You can invest this money in managed funds or direct investments into New Zealand businesses. The managed funds that you can invest in are all vetted by New Zealand Trade and Enterprise. So you can contact the fund managers directly, and the other advantage is that you don't need any English language requirements, which was a big hurdle in the previous visa. You only need to spend 21 days in the 3 years for you to be eligible for this residence category. The other one is the balance category, where the minimum requirements are a little more. It's 10 million New Zealand dollars, but a lot more options open up to you. So you can now, if you're investing 10 million New Zealand dollars, which is about 50 crores in Indian rupees, you can start looking at real estate projects, commercial properties, residential properties as well, along with investing in New Zealand bonds and the New Zealand equity market. So these are 2. Along with that, there is the New Zealand Entrepreneur Work Visa leading to residence. So if you are a businessman who is running a business, you can start up a new business in New Zealand or buy an existing business in New Zealand. Ideally, your investment should be about 500,000 New Zealand dollars. That comes up to about 2.5 CR. You need to run that business for 1.5 years, and you are eligible to apply for residence. So these are quite some positive changes which are happening in this space, and we're looking forward to sort of working closely with the Indian HNIs to help you navigate this.
Thank you. My next question is to Till. Tell us about Citizen Lane and what is a unique advantage and benefits that countries like Malta and Portugal offer to prospective people who wish to invest in these 2 countries.
A little bit about Citizen Lane. Thank you for the question. Actually, funnily enough, we are celebrating 10 years this year. So since I started the company, some time has passed, and I'm traveling now to India for the last 3-4 years. Just after COVID, I came first time here. And we are helping the investors from India to find the right pathway to Europe. That is the main part of our business. Since we are here on the market in India, we also started promoting US and Canadian immigration. And to your question regarding what are the advantages of Portugal and Malta, they are both very different in their respective programs, but the big benefit, what I'd like to underline, is that the Portuguese program, which many of the Indians I spoke to thought would be a dead program which doesn't exist anymore, which is not true because the program is still there. They have just struck off one of the investment opportunities, which is the real estate investment. My personal opinion always was that this is not the most ideal investment opportunity, because if you buy real estate, you have very many benefits with that, right? You have a tangible asset, you can go there, you can use it yourself, there are clear benefits. But if you buy property abroad, you have to take care of tax returns, you need to take care of management of the property. There's always some kind of a headache. Now, with that remaining investment category in Portugal, in the venture capital funds, you can earn, first of all, real money. So there are expected returns between 10 and 20% achievable, and that income is even tax-free. So you don't need to take care of any tax returns, and you can let your money work for you and have much better returns than with real estate as well. For the part of Malta, the really big benefit of Malta is, I would say, that you have a country which is a small country, which brings in real estate investment certain advantages, especially if you have a lot of incoming residents, which Malta is having due to its very low corporate tax, especially for foreign investors, which only pay 5% corporate tax in Malta. So this leads to an influx of companies, job creation in Malta, and all these new employees which move to Malta, they need to have properties. So as an investor, you can benefit from a stable growth in your assets over there, and can be sure that you rent out your property in a finger snap.
Thank you. Spyros, what unique aspects of the Greek real estate market makes it an attractive destination for international investors? And can you tell us a little more about ALFANAR Constructions?
Absolutely. So, first of all, the specific residency via investment, which can also lead to citizenship by investment with just a few prerequisites over time. I would say is both, the benefits are because of Greece itself as a culture, and secondly, because it's probably the lowest threshold, investment threshold in Europe, that not only gives you a residency in Greece itself without any obligation to reside at all in Greece, but also access to all the other Schengen area countries, so that you may come and go freely, but again, without any obligation. With us, as developers, ALFANAR, we've been in the market, in the construction market for more than 20 years, and also catering to the needs of the foreign investor for the residency card since its inception more than 10 years ago, where besides getting locations and projects with added value and high return on investment, which we actually guarantee all on our projects for X number of years, has also been steadily offering since 2018 great capital appreciation. And also the fact that we actually provide the full range of services for the investor who, in fact, would only have to visit towards the end of the process. It's the only actual prerequisite to submit biometrics for both the main investor and the eligible family members. Everything before that and after that, there's actually no obligation for either the investor or the family to ever visit, but are free to do so whenever they so wish.
Right. Thank you. So at the risk of repeating, I think a lot of the viewers here want to know what is the minimum entry investment that needs to be made across the various countries, apart from, of course, EB5, which is a different set of rules, So if I could pass the mic on to the respective panelists to tell us what is the minimum threshold of investment that Indians need to make, or any investor needs to make. One, what's the kind of rental yields or capital appreciation that one has witnessed in the countries that you represent? That would be a good starting point for further discussion. Yes.
Okay, so currently in Greece, the minimum investment threshold is 250,000, but with the latest change of the law last year, it applies only to properties that were non-residential when the law was voted and have since been converted to residential, to also provide more housing for the local population. And we have found that as an opportunity to also invest and develop buildings in more touristic areas, which gives added value to the investment, offering greater returns. And also bearing in mind that since 2018, the capital gains, I would say, year by year have been steadily at an average of about 10% in Greece itself. So besides the relatively high returns of the actual rents received, which we actually guarantee, I think the actual capital gains are even more substantial.
So I'll sum it down in three parts for the three different products that New Zealand offers. So to start with, the entrepreneur work visa leading to residence. Now, the minimum requirements for this visa category to participate in is actually, interestingly, very, very low. It's only about 100,000 New Zealand dollars, which is 50 lakh rupees. But practically speaking, when you do present a proposal to the government, it does not pass. So ideally, you should be looking at a minimum of 500,000 New Zealand dollars, which generally has the ability to pass through, and you will be able to get a entrepreneur visa leading to residence. Now, this is up to you. You want to buy an existing business, you should reach out to a broker. We can help you fix those meetings, do your due diligence in what the business is returning, so you can have a pretty good idea. The other option, like I mentioned, is the investment. Is for $5 million, you can invest in managed funds in New Zealand. Now, the New Zealand Trade and Enterprise, they have the list of all the 41 managed funds that are approved by them, along with what returns they're offering. So now it is up to you to go and research it, make sure that you can put in those $5 million into 10 different funds or 40 different funds. It's entirely up to you. You can spread it across or put it in one managed fund. The third option, which requires you to invest $10 million, it opens up more avenues for you. You can invest in real estate, commercial properties, real estate developments, and New Zealand bonds and equity. So again, the returns vary. That is something, again, you need to go and discuss it. See, the ranges for some of the managed funds, we are getting pretty good ranges. The ones we have recommended recently are up to 20%, but look at it from an average of 10 to 20% you're getting in the managed funds. That's something pretty common to get. Along with the real estate sector, New Zealand real estate is pretty strong. The real estates, we are getting returns of close to 7 to 8% in the real estate sector. Along with that, New Zealand doesn't have capital gains tax. So that's something which always attracts people into the real estate in New Zealand.
Okay, to answer your question, Dubai is a very flexible market. I'm sure everybody is aware about the golden visa concept, but if some people are not aware, we also have investors visa, which is for 2 years. Yes, of course, golden visa is for 10 years with an investment of 2 million dirhams. That also, it has to be in the payment plan. So again, like I said, Dubai is a very flexible entry point, and it's with the ease of government, plus they are making more norms and regulations, which is being so easier for all the investors, not just Indians, but the entire global market. Why we are doing this? Because we are getting the demand. Why people are coming to Dubai? We all know that. So end of the day, Dubai real estate is so much flexible that to set up a business, to get into a job, or probably to invest, and then people know rentals, right? People understand the returns on rentals. Dubai is the market. That's why I say that it's the most flexible option, and that's why many companies, day by day, if you can see the year from 2021 till 24, do your research, you will understand the growth potential, and it is the maximum in the world. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Tell us more about what are the kind of returns that one can expect in investment in Malta and Portugal, and what's the threshold minimum requirement for investment?
So for Portugal, the minimum investment is 500,000 euros, €500,000, which is around 5 CRI now. which are invested in those investment funds. They're going to be locked in for about 5, 6 to 8 years, 9 years, depending on what time you invest in the investment fund and what lifetime this investment fund has. And you can expect about 10 to 20% return per year, which is also tax-free. And then on the Maltese side, where you do a real estate investment, depends, of course, if you do the renting through long let or short let. The returns are better on the short let market, especially since the summer season or the tourist season in Malta is easily 9 months. So I've lived now for the last 5 years in Malta, and I've seen that myself, that the tourists, they never go away, right? Even in November, December, January, February, there are still occupancy rates of about 30 to 40%, not like in many other Mediterranean islands where the winter is completely empty. On the long let market, you can probably expect a return of about 5 to 6%, maybe even better, if you make a good deal at a good price. That is always the key to improve your returns, of course. And on the short let market, the returns are easily about 10%. And a big advantage is also that the taxation on the income from the property in Malta is at 15%.
Thank you. Girish, in the morning, in the various discussions that we've had, there was a lot of thrust on potential changes, the retrogression that people talked about, and the 5-year sustainment period, and the likelihood of the minimum investment going up. And we also talked about the golden card. Can you throw some light on what your assessment is of the scenario, knowing that a lot of people are interested in exploring the EB5 option or moving to the US? And in this current state of flux, what is your advice and what is your thoughts on all these aspects which have been the topic of discussion in today's conference?
Sure. So as far as EB5 visa is concerned, this has been in existence since 1990. So that was a direct program. And then in 1992, the regional center program was introduced. And it was always a pilot program. So it used to get extensions. There used to be a lapse for 6 months, 8 months. Then again, EB5 program via regional center used to get reinvigorated. So everyone was used to this lapse and again, reintroduction of EB5 right from 1990s. That changed into 2022. So in March of 2022, Reforms and Integrity Act was introduced or passed, and a couple of things happened. Firstly, the investment amount went from $500,000 US to 800,000. That's the minimum, and with a higher amount of $1,050,000 US, depending where the project is. So that's one of the changes. The other important factor, which is related to your question specifically, is the existence of this law, which is until 2027 September. So this was passed between 2022 to 2027, and there is a grandfathering provision involved in this EB5 program, which is for some reason, it's not valid until 27, it's valid until September 30th, 2026. What it means, to put it simply, is if someone applies for EB5 visa today, until September 30th, 2026, they are protected by grandfathering provision. What it means is USCIS, which is the adjudicating authority for immigration in the US, is obligated or bound to adjudicate those cases as far as your application has gone in before that cutoff date. So with all the talks regarding the gold card, potential increase in the price, everything kept aside, if you are investing within that time span when the investment amount is at 800,000 US before the cutoff date of September 30th, 2026,
You're protected.
You're protected under the grandfathering provisions. Now, as far as gold card is concerned, it's yet to be clarified whether that is going to work in conjunction with EB5 visa, whether EB5 visa amount is going to go up, what kind of provisions will be introduced by the administration for that to be increased. But as we stand today, as we stand currently, the investment amount remains at 800,000 as minimum, and you're protected under the provisions.
Thank you. Shivam, we had a lovely introduction of Dubai, SOBHA projects in Dubai. And the beauty of some of the projects is it's sort of catered to all segments of the market, starting from 2.5 crores. Can you tell me some of the USPs of SOBHA projects and why has it been so successful in Dubai?
Thanks for listening to my presentation. Talking about SOBHA projects and the USPs, number one, which I personally feel is the locations. If you see the map of Dubai, every investor, be it Indian or across the world, they see the locations. That's where the logic works and then they invest. Not just with SOBHA developer, but with any developer. So talking about SOBHA, the locations works at its best. Again, SOBHA being the first private developer to reach in the top 3 because of the delivery time. People are aware about it because they know when their returns will come, when their rentals will start. It's very important. So not defaulting that, not just giving a timely delivery, but before time. That's where we reached in the top 3. And the best, the best USP, we all know, it's in the Harvard study, the quality of construction. So yes, SOBHA, as a developer, is known for its best contracting. We were first contractors, and now we are developers. Because having a great success being a contractors, we are right now doing so well because of the quality of construction. If you go in any SOBHA community in Dubai, you will see people staying since years. There's no space. They're not ready to leave because they're living in that unit, that apartment. That's where SOBHA plays a really vital role in Dubai real estate.
Thank you, Shivam. My next question to you, Aman. New Zealand has always been a preferred destination for a lot of Indian tourists, and it's one of the most beautiful countries in the world. And it's so good to have you with us today to know that New Zealand is looking and inviting more and more people to come and invest in their country, and this is the beginning. Can you just detail the various business and investment options for Indians seeking to immigrate, whether in work, study, family, reunification, or permanent residency? And which green list occupations offer the best job opportunities for Indian professionals?
Okay, so I think I've already listed some of the investment and business options that are available.
Yeah.
So we'll move to the green list. So interestingly, we haven't spoken about the green list option, which was again introduced by the government just last year itself. Now, essentially, New Zealand has been a country which has always invited skilled workers coming in. However, the pathways which were available for skilled workers to come in and settle in New Zealand was a little bit tiresome, and there was a lot of compliance requirements. It was a points-based system, which was completely overhauled last year by the government. Now, they introduced something called as a green list, where they have identified certain occupations under green list 1 and certain occupations under green list 2. Now, green list 1 occupations are relevant to something which are occupations which are very skilled, highly skilled, people who are in senior managerial roles, doctors, IT professionals, engineers. If you get a job offer in New Zealand belonging to one of these occupations, you can apply for residence straight away. You do not need to invest anything. You don't need to even leave your home country. So you get a job offer in that specific occupation, meeting those specific requirements, and you can apply for residence straight away, and you'll be granted residence within 6 months. So that's been a really positive change. The Green List 2 is slightly similar, but it's different in the sense that if you are in an occupation which is under the Green List 2, which includes professions like teachers, which is again in quite high demand, nurses, and some paramedical professions, you can get a job offer, move to New Zealand within 3 months, and continue working in that role for 2 years. And after completing 2 years of work, you will automatically be granted residence. So as far as skilled professionals are concerned, this is something very positive. And regarding the other question, we have discussed what the other options are, which remain the same for the investor category, which is the balance and the growth category, which is for $5 and $10 million. interestingly, just today itself, we got a news from the Ministry of Immigration. So Erica Stanford, who's the Minister of Immigration, she's just sent an article stating that there are some really positive changes coming to the entrepreneur work visa category. So we are expecting more relaxations here. So that's something, again, quite positive. It's news we just got this morning.
Great. Spyros, what is the kind of projects that you would recommend our viewers look at for investment in Greece? Can you tell us a little bit more about specific projects that you would strongly recommend?
Great. As I mentioned before, we do find places to develop so that we're also in line with the lower thresholds with the current golden visa rules. So right now we have a beachfront project with very close proximity to Athens, within about an hour and a half, either from the city center or from the international airport, either by car or by train, located on the beachfront. And surprisingly enough, as most people wouldn't imagine, or for Greece in general, even more so for the southern part of Greece, also in a 30-minute drive from a winter ski resort. So somewhere they can enjoy the sea, the countryside, and the mountain.
Great. We were talking about sustainability and sustainable projects still, and your strong passion towards investment with a purpose. And can you elaborate on some of the projects that you all have taken up and are recommending investors to invest in with sustainability as the backbone?
Thank you. Absolutely. In Portugal, since the investment fund option is also very attractive, and I'd like to see that we have a mission in our world to make this planet a better place, because we all know that something is going wrong here. And we are living in a world of capitalism, and of course you can only change the world when you move money. And I like to tell my clients that when you invest in Portugal, you can also make a change in that way, and not just invest in a project like in a hotel or in other investment funds which are around in the area. But you invest in solar power plants, in wind farms, in new technologies which filter water, in technologies which take care of other aspects of the water cycle, for example, the nitrate contamination of our agricultural soil, etc., etc. So there are so many topics, and I choose especially investment funds which have a purpose and which also bring you a benefit, because you can earn money and do something good at the same time, and even fulfill your goals for citizenship or residency at the same time. Let me hook in here another thought, which we haven't brought up until now. I've been speaking about the citizenship program of Malta. So some of you, or many of you, probably have heard that the citizenship program in Malta is suspended at the moment. So we are currently expecting here a change in the legislation. And as I, at our last event in Bombay, mentioned, that we're going to expect probably a system which is similar as in Austria, that it's more investment related, because the main reason why this program was suspended is that there was a ruling of the European Court of Justice which had assessed that the citizenship program, in the way that it's designed, is too transactional, meaning you have a price list and a due diligence process, of course, but basically you just invest a certain amount of money and you get the passport. And this was ruled by that court to be not in the spirit of the European citizenship agreements. They still valued that the right of citizenship remains sovereignty of each nation, but nevertheless the spirit of the European Union was contradicted here. So what is going to happen here, and what is currently being discussed in Parliament in Malta, is that they changed to a system similarly to in what is done in Austria or even some other European countries which have provisions in the citizenship acts that people who contribute in a certain way to society, to the country, that they can get projects as well, citizenship as well. And these can include sportsmen, like for example, Austria has done before, that sportsmen get passport. Similarly, that will be possible in Malta as well. Investors who significantly invest in the country to save certain industry, to support certain national interests of the economic policies of the country. And this is something what I now want to make the loop as well to the environmental projects. There will be a lot of investment opportunities in real businesses, and not just by buying property and making a donation to the country. And in that way, the country will have more benefit. I believe nature will have a bigger benefit. And our clients, they of course still can in future still avail the citizenship of Malta through an investment, but an investment with a purpose.
That's such a wonderful thought. And with that, I would also like to mention to our viewers that whilst there are so many good advantages of investing abroad, there is also a word of caution that throughout this conference today, people have talked about. It's very important for you to know the local laws, not only of the country that you're planning to invest in, but also the Indian laws, be it taxation, be it the RBI and FEMA guidelines, etc. So it's extremely important for anyone who wishes to invest in any of the countries to go to the right consultants, lawyers, attorneys, chartered accountants, etc., and seek the right advice before investing. I'd like to conclude this discussion with one word of advice from each of the panelists today as to what would be that one advice that you would give to an investor if they wish to successfully go through the process of getting citizenship or a golden visa in the country of their choice. Yes.
I would agree, like you said, to first of all evaluate both the investment and all the regulations, regardless of their country of choice to invest in. In our example, all I can say is that we can offer the whole spectrum of both the consultancy, the legal aspect of things, besides the actual real estate and technical part of it.
So as far as New Zealand is concerned, we have a very strong regulation. In New Zealand, anyone who's offering any kind of immigration advice has to be licensed by the New Zealand Immigration Advisors Authority. It's a government organization that controls the working of every immigration advisor and lawyer, and our licenses are renewed every year. So there's a lot of compliance that we need to make. So my advice to anyone seeking advice for New Zealand or looking at investment properties is please engage with someone who's licensed. It's very easy to find the details of a licensed immigration advisor or lawyer online. Please do not engage with someone who's unlicensed, which we see a lot happening in this market. So that's my advice.
Okay. So as I mentioned earlier, Dubai is super flexible, but again, now I'm connecting with my audience as I can, really understand what you're actually trying to get a piece of advice from this panel. So I'm gonna give an example. Back in time when I was in Mumbai, I used to see the investors' mindset. They used to always have a mindset after investment. Everybody has one investment and they plan for a second investment. And they used to take something which is near to their house, or let's say from Mumbai, they used to invest in Pune. Let's say Hyderabad, as we are in Hyderabad, you have a second investment in Bangalore. Now what Dubai is trying to give a message to all of the investors is, why cannot we have a second home in Dubai? It's as flexible to travel. Dubai as a location, it's the center of import and export. So for me, even I'm from Mumbai, traveling to Dubai and coming back, for me it feels like I'm traveling intercity in India. So that's what Dubai is trying to prove the Indian market, that yes, second home can be possible in Dubai. As I said, super flexible. Government regulations are also well connected with Indian regulations, not just for Indians, now for globally. Like I said, many are investing in Dubai. So that's my piece of advice.
Thank you. Till?
Piece of advice you asked, right?
Yes, to the potential investors.
So first of all, I would say try to separate your needs from your investment requirements. Because if you do immigration, there are many ways to do that. You don't always need to do everything at once. You don't need to fit everything at once because it might not be the best solution for your personal needs. Because when you do a decision, especially if you want to relocate, it is more a decision of the heart and the gut. An investment is happening up here, right? So you need all the three, but you not always need to do everything at once. So think about what you really need. Think with your head, listen to your heart, and decide with your gut.
Thank you. Girish, specific question. Today we had a lot of consultants and agencies talking about the importance of investing in the right project. Of course, CMB also has been in the field for a very long time. I think it's one of the oldest agencies which help potential people to move into the US. So what is your advice on the EB5 and what should potential candidates keep in mind when they seek this EB5? The agency that they should select, on what basis? And what are the other homework that they have to do in order for them to be successful?
Right. Firstly, EB5 as a visa category is unique. So firstly, when someone is thinking about EB5 visa, they first need to assess and finalize that US permanent residency is something which they are looking for. Once they finalize on this aspect that, okay, we want to move forward with a green card application, is when the due diligence begins. CMB as a regional center, as you rightly mentioned, is one of the oldest active regional centers in EB5 space. And we have been in this industry since last 28 years. We have worked with more than 6,000 investors from 103 different countries and raised more than $3 billion worth of EB5 capital, repaid $1.4 billion plus. So these are stats, but stats at the end of the day are for the past projects. So it is very important for someone who is looking to invest right now to get comfortable not just with the track record and history of the regional center, but also look at the current project, also look at the stakeholders involved in the project. For example, the developer that we are working with in that specific project, because those are the people or those are the entities who are actually going to help those 10 jobs creation per investor. So if the funds are utilized in the correct manner, that is only when the qualified investment happens, that is only when the green card will be received. So that due diligence needs to happen. And how is that going to happen? Because we use this word very lightly and quite often, right? Due diligence. So that due diligence begins by speaking to different people who are well versed in the industry. You need to speak with immigration attorneys. You need to speak with regional centers. If possible, visit the project. If someone is unable to do it themselves, then ask folks who are in the US to go through the project once and ask a lot of questions, because that is how the transparency is going to be visible to you when you ask questions. Regional centers cannot lie. There is something called as a private placement memorandum, which is essentially that document which is submitted to USCIS even before this project is brought in front of a prospective investor. So every regional center, before they bring a particular project, they have to go through a lot of compliances. They need to file something called as a 956F project approval application. And once we receive an application approval is when we realize that, okay, USCIS is okay with this project. However, that is just a basic approval which USCIS provides. There is a lot in terms of additional due diligence, in terms of entitlements, in terms of the project timelines, the demand for that project in that particular location, not just when you are planning to invest, but also when the project completion is going to happen, and how the job creation is being calculated by the regional center. All these aspects are very important. And although it sounds very complicated and someone who is listening to this for the first time might get bogged down, but once you get into this process of analyzing the projects and regional center is when all those doors will be open and you'll be able to understand all these concepts quite easily.
Thank you, Girish. I would like to now throw it open to the audience. Any queries and questions for the panelists?
Anyone?
Reshmi, you've very comprehensively brought out fantastic answers from the wonderful panelists. Thank you so much. I have a question for Till. MPRP program being a permanent residency program, is there a grandfathering provision where you can actually, like the US has, things can change in the future, but the permanent residency or the letter of permanent residency that a person gets from Malta, which is probably the finest in Europe in a sense, where they give it straight away, does it mean that it can change in the future, or the permanent residency is really for a lifetime?
To be very honest, law can always change in the most unexpected ways, right? So I cannot make any promises on that. But generally speaking, all of the golden visa programs, even if they have changed, they have always honored previous investors and always protected their rights. I cannot imagine a scenario where it would happen that the law would be changed, the program would be abolished, and all the investors which brought millions to the countries will be thrown out. That doesn't seem like a realistic scenario to me. Maybe a hint on grandfathering in a different sense. I'd like to add maybe that Malta also has the benefit that it would grandfather newborn kids into the passport, into the residence card as well. Right, so if you do an application in Greece, for example, but just like to bring the facts here, if you do an application today, you can only include the kids which are already born. In Malta, the big disadvantage of the MPRP program, which you mentioned, is that you have high one-time fees for the application itself, which are roughly about 70 lakhs. So additionally to the investment you have to do into real estate. But the benefit is that the kids which are not yet born can still apply for a residence card, and even the kids' kids.
Wow.
That's heartening to know.
Can I also ask a question to Girish? This is a puzzling workaround that I'm noticing at the back, which says opportunity fund lender of 300K, and 800,000 is the the kind of the minimum in an investment for an EB5. What is this 300K workaround as a reverse loan coming back from an RC? What is it like? Is it legit, or is it? I mean, what's logical? What's it like? I don't understand that. Thank you.
Right, so with your EB5 application, you are basically allowed to have a loan. I'm not sure what that particular opportunity is, but any lender who is ready to lend funds to you, not the regional center. So mostly these are going to be affiliate entities who are ready to lend funds to you. So as a program, the minimum investment is 800,000. So if someone is trying to imply or allude that the investment amount is lower, then that won't be true. There might be potential issues with the USCIS down the line. I've heard that there are certain applications which are questioned because of this particular aspect, that, are you trying to imply that the investment amount is lower than what it is as per the law? But technically you are allowed to take a loan. So you can take a loan from your father, your mother, a bank, whoever is allowing you to take a loan. Now, from an Indian perspective, as a resident individual, there are certain limitations as to whether you are allowed to take the loan. So let's say you are taking a loan against property. The loan agreement which you get, there are certain stipulations mentioned in that loan agreement which may or may not allow you to remit the funds received from that loan outside of India. But there are certain NBFCs who do provide those loans. This particular opportunity is basically an affiliate entity of the regional center, allowing you to have a loan of, yes, up to 300 and 350,000 US dollars. Again, you need to, if you're a resident individual as an applicant, the main applicant, you still have to comply with the local regulations. So you need to speak with your financial advisor, your chartered accountant, whether even if I'm getting a loan outside of India, let's say in the US, whether you can still apply for EB5 visa by taking that loan or not, but that's a separate issue. But technically, loan from an EB5 perspective is allowed. So from a USCIS perspective, what they would like to see is clear-cut repayment plan. So even as a regional center, CMB also works with an affiliate entity which has a lending license, and they do provide a loan for up to 350,000 US dollars. But the loan committee asks for a clear-cut repayment strategy. So they will look at each and every documentation as to whether you own any asset, how are you planning to liquidate that, what would be the timeline for you to liquidate that asset, and based on that, the loan may or may not be approved in that scenario. So if there is an entity who is conducting a thorough due diligence on the documentation that you're providing before the loan is granted, strictly from an EB5 perspective, from the US side of things, it's allowed. From Indian standpoint, you need to work with the local advisors to see whether that's allowed or not.
Any thoughts from your end?
Nothing to add, really.
Nothing. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the scenario today, the entire world has opened up for us as potential areas for investment. And today you have the whole world coming here to woo you in terms of telling you the advantages of investments in their respective countries. Do take advantage of this. Please take professional advice from all the relevant concerned specialists before you decide to invest. There's a great opportunity out there, but you also need to ensure that you tick all the boxes when it comes to compliances, both locally and internationally. With that, I'd like to end the session. Thank you so much for your patience, and thank you, panelists, for this very, very interesting discussion that we had today.